The hard place, like a wind from Goldland, he sweeps by, blown far from his homeland in search of glory and honor. We walk in the garden of his turbulence.
Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to the Raimi-verse. I am Jason Evans, here for another edition of the Movie Joust podcast. I'm joined by my buddies, Josh Sewell and Jesse Nussman. Guys, our primary thing to talk about this week is the new Sam Raimi film, Send Help, starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. We're also going to get a little bit into Sam Raimi's history, a really, really interesting filmmaker with some amazing movies in his background. Let me start by asking you guys how you doing, what's going on. Jesse, what's new in your life?
Nothing. Same old.
It's a perfectly fine answer. You survived Snowmageddon.
I survived the light dusting we got near my apartment.
I was gonna say I survived the 10 minutes of flurries I got.
Yeah, it feels like for 2 weekends in a row, we were warned to buy all the bread and milk that exists on the planet, and then nothing happened.
And yet somehow the North Carolina coast got like 19 inches of snow or something like that. Right.
I saw this. I saw Myrtle Beach looked like it was Snowmass, Colorado.
Yes. They have already started like conspiracy theorying like what the snow is. Like my friend who lives on the North Carolina coast was sending me stuff from his community Facebook page of people being like, this snow is suspicious. This does not seem like the snow I grew up with. Why is it a different texture? And then people commenting like, I don't know, you should ask the weather person. They can usually explain that. Be like, the weather people don't know what they are talking about. Get out of here with that woke nonsense.
Oh, nothing like a good conspiracy theory on a Monday morning. All right, guys, let's get to the movies. And let's get to the number one film at the box office over the weekend, Send Help.
It's Melania.
No.
Yeah, are we not talking about Melania this week? I that's what I went and saw instead. Me and like an auditorium full of 73-year-old women.
We will not be getting into the politics of the Melania movie. I have lamented the fact that I think it's almost impossible to watch that movie without your inherent biases affecting your. So we're just not going to bother.
I can't wait to take a bunch of shots and watch it on Amazon Prime for free because I'm a Prime subscriber.
So let's switch to Office Politics instead.
Yes, Office Politics.
Good call, Josh. Josh, why don't you go ahead and tell us what the movie Send Help is about? I think it's a fairly simple setup.
So Rachel McAdams plays a movie version of a frumpy office lady. You cannot make Rachel McAdams frumpy, but the movie tries. An overachiever, somebody who's trying to work her way up the corporate ladder. The president of the company has promised her a promotion to VP. But then he dies and his douchebag son takes over, played by Dylan O'Brien, with one of the best douchebag laughs I've ever heard. And immediately gives the promotion to his frat bro golf buddy. And so while Rachel McAdams is trying to figure out what her future at the company is, the president gives her one last chance to prove herself on this international trip, and on the way the plane crashes. Her and her boss are the only survivors, and she gets to put her obsessive survivor fangirl skills to the test to try to keep both of them alive. And then a lot of Sam Raimi style things happen.
I think that's pretty good. All right, Jesse, I know all three of us saw this movie. I saw it at a screening over the weekend. By the way, the screening, speaking of Survivor, the screening that I was at, they had a former Survivor cast member, a fairly prominent person from the past couple seasons.
Oh, nice.
Who showed up to introduce the film. And then they ran a trailer for Survivor 50. And I was fanboying out because I am a huge Survivor fan. I've seen, there have been 49 seasons of Survivor. I watched 48 of them. My wife made me skip one of them. She's like, I hate this show. We skipped one. And then we both went, you know what? I think I really like this show. And so we came back. So we've seen 48 of the 49 seasons. This movie has a lot of sort of Survivor callbacks, I guess you'd sort of say, kind of stuff at various times in it. Anyway, I know we all saw it over the weekend. Jesse, Use the what is the word you use to describe this film?
Gushy. Gushy. This is a
Very
really
gushy
gushy
movie.
movie. A lot of just like gushy sound effects, a lot of, arterial spray, a lot of like people eating fruits and fish really messily, a lot of like snot and vomit and blood being like spewed in people's faces.
Eye
Um,
juices.
yeah, great. Just like the great kind of experience you want for a Sunday morning at 11 a.m.
I
at the
will
movies.
say, as somebody who, lives further out in the boonies than you guys do, I went to this one last night. I saw it on a Sunday night because just weekend stuff happened. And on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock, my little small town theater was pretty crowded. And I'm used to it being a ghost town at those sort of screenings. So, take that anecdotal evidence for what you will, that like Sam Raimi still got it, man.
I mean, the film is unquestionably a pretty decent hit with audiences. The box office numbers, I think, are a little better than what Hollywood had expected. The film does not have a huge budget, like a $40 million budget, I think I read, and it's already taken in $28 million at the box office, and that's just opening weekend. I'm sure it's going to go on to earn somewhere in the 80s, maybe even come close to maybe close to 100 million.
I know they've
But
been marketing the heck out of it too. Like Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien have been doing the usual TikTok circuit and, answering all the what movie would you want to take with you to a deserted island kind of questions that you always get asked. And they're being really good natured about it. So yeah, that you can tell they're plugging the heck out of this thing and pouring a lot of money into marketing as well.
one thing I'll say for it is, I really thought when the movie opens and we see Rachel Adams as frumpy and awkward as possible, I was like, oh, they're going to get to the deserted island and suddenly she's going to start to look really beautiful and Dylan O'Brien's going to fall for her. I thought it was going to follow that, and I love that they didn't do that. I mean, she looks a little better as the movie moves along, but she never becomes the gorgeous woman that is Rachel McAdams. And I kind of like,
Says you. This is my fantasy of being trapped on a desert island with Rachel McAdams, and she knows how to do all the survival things, and I just have to sit back. That's my heaven.
oh wait, to be very clear, she looks great, but she doesn't look as great as I thought they would make her look. I was glad they didn't go that direction with the story.
I will say, I think that they're aware of that, though, that's the audience expectations, because there is a really funny scene of her at a waterfall where they do all the typical,
Right,
like,
right.
she's discovering her inner beauty kind of movements and
She
stuff.
she gets the glow up and,
Yeah.
gets to wash her hair in the wonderful fresh springs, and it's no longer looking like, you know, full and luscious, as opposed to, looking like she hasn't watched it in about like 6 months at the beginning of the movie.
Did you all enjoy this film? Do you think it's a good movie? Josh, I'll let you go first.
Yes, I will say I had a blast with this. Granted, I'm already in the tank for most of the stuff Sam Raimi does anyway. So I was, all he had to do was like not disappoint me and mission accomplished. But like him and then the screenplay, which is by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift, who have a lot of experience in the horror genre. They wrote Freddy versus Jason and the Friday the 13th reboot from back in 2009. So they're already familiar with this sort of like tongue-in-cheek kind of horror comedy anyway. Um,
Well, hey, do you think this is a horror? I did not feel like it was a horror movie at all.
I feel like it's a horror comedy. Like I don't think it's a pure blown horror like, an
It's a
A24 horror
thriller.
or something. But yeah, I think it's described as like a horror thriller, but it's a Sam Raimi movie. It's absolutely a dark comedy. But they do a really good job of letting you see, even if Rachel McAdams is like movie ugly at the beginning of the movie, which is still they do a really good job of letting you see like why her office mates wouldn't really want to hang out with her that much. She's a lot. And I think we've all met people in the office like that. I'm a teacher. I've met plenty of people like that. So he gets you in right away with you. You kind of feel bad for her for the way she's treated at the office. But this is also a movie where like the douchebag character also kind of makes some good points at the same time, where he's like, okay, yeah, you're great with numbers and you're great on the facts and figures side of things, but a lot of this job is being a people person and knowing how to act in social situations, and you don't have that. And I'm like, oh man, I hate that I agree with him. So it
Well,
does a good job of setting you up to maybe like side with people that you weren't expecting to side with, which makes the desert island dynamic a lot more unpredictable than I thought it was going to be at first.
well, say, I was going to say one of the things that I'm not saying this is a flaw in the movie, but one of the things that kind of bothered me a little bit as I was watching it, and I enjoyed the overall experience. I agree with you; it's a very good film, a couple good performances, and a lot of Raimi fun, and very funny at times. But
Mhm.
throughout the movie, like especially through the middle third, I was like, who am I rooting for here? Who's the good guy
Yeah.
and who's the bad guy? Because it's really not clear. And I guess on the one hand, that's something I enjoyed, but on the other hand, I was a little bit like, especially when we get to the ending, I was sort of like, okay, am I going to get the happy ending? And what is the happy ending?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I think for audiences, I think that could be a little bit of a challenge. Jesse, where are you on this?
I had a grand old time. I would not say this hits like the heights of like as good as Sam Raimi can be, but I am thrilled that there is a movie where he is at least getting like 75% to the way to like the craziness that he can get to without having to deal with like Marvel bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, I wasn't bothered by the sort of muddying of the water as you guys were. That's part of the course with this kind of movie, and honestly, I'm getting a little bit annoyed with some of the like Puritan like who can I root for attitude
Yeah.
that people are having around like certain movies that have come out in the last year or so. Marty Supreme. And yeah, I found this to be a really fun, unpretentious genre movie, and it really is a movie about like the people you underestimate and the people you overlook, and you should just treat everyone nice because you never know when you're going to need someone's special set of skills. And I love that this kind of, without getting into too many spoilers, becomes essentially Misery on an Island in
Yeah.
sort of its back half. And I love the combination of Rachel McAdams with Sam Raimi, because I think Rachel McAdams is so expressive as an actress that she really fits the kind of heightened atmosphere that Sam Raimi brings to his movies. So yeah, I would say this is like, I'm maybe not as high on it as like I think like Josh is, but this is a really fun time, and I think like whether you go and see it in theaters or wait for it to be on the Disney Plus, definitely check it out. And it is like, I can't believe we got two really cool, fun genre movies in January
And
already
I
from very respected filmmakers.
Yeah, and to add on to that just briefly, like yeah, everything you said, like I'm not up here saying it's going to be in my top 10 in December or whatever, but it's just,
No,
I think I think a lot of us have just forgotten how to have fun at the movies. And Sam Raimi is like, no, 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 I'm going to remind you that movies can be fun. And something else that like it's it's a reminder in this current era of Sam Raimi's filmmaking sensibilities. This is a mean movie. It is mean. And you forget, like, he's buddies with the Coen brothers. Like, they came up together. They were
Yes.
roommates. And so, like, he's got a lot of that gross, almost nihilistic sensibility in his movies that the Coens bring into stuff like Burn After Reading and stuff like that, where you're like, yeah, the who do I root for thing is out of the question because like these are all in some way or another bad people.
Yeah,
And
I
so
think I
it's
think this
just,
is also like you could view this as, if I'm gonna put my, pretentious hat on, like a parable about like power corrupting and like our desire for power, and like the movie sort of starting out as like, yeah, all of a sudden like this douchebag boss that like is mistreating her and overlooking her, like she's gonna flip the power dynamic. But then all of a sudden it becomes, you know, without getting into too much spoilers, about now Rachel McAdams' character is the person with the power and control and the sort of like ability to boss people around on this island. And then that becomes corrupting. It's basically like Sam Raimi kind of took the last third of that movie Triangle of Sadness that came out a few years ago and kind of did the like more efficient genre version of that, of like where that movie goes in its last third, of like all of a sudden like the, you know, the below deck workers on the ship are now going to become the top level survival people. But are they going to want to give up that power just as much as like the rich fuddy-duddies are going to not want to give up their prestige and power? That's kind of the dynamic that's at play in this movie. And Raimi obviously just taking it to like hilarious, over-the-top, grotesque areas.
Yeah, look, the bottom line is all three of us enjoyed this film. None of us are going to have it at the very top of our, top 10 list. But certainly it's worth checking out, whether in theaters or on streaming. I want to transition us, because we've been saying Sam Raimi's name so much, to talking a little bit about him. Can I just start and say, I think it's really sad that since 2009, in the past 16 years, we've only gotten 3 films from Sam Raimi. It is just, I know filmmaking's not easy. It takes time, and I know he's very busy. He's producing lots of stuff. And the guy has
4, but I think there's a reason that you forgot one and only said 3.
Wait, what's the
fourth
one?
So 2009, you got Drag Me to Hell. You've got
No. That's, I was saying since
I was saying
since 2009.
Oh, sorry. So, and then you've got Doctor Strange. Then you've got Send Help. So yeah, my bad.
Right. Basically, I meant since he did Drag Me to Hell, which is a really good horror movie.
Oh, fun.
Really good horror movie. Since he did that
is up there with like the Evil Dead stuff of like as crazy as he can go, where I'm almost like amazed that movie has a PG-13 rating because it's so fucking gross.
Yeah.
But my point was that we got Oz the Great and Powerful, Doctor Strange, and then we got Send Help. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a pity that a guy who has such a sense of how to entertain us and how to make us squirm and such, how to make us feel things in the theater, which is not as easy as you might think. It's a crime that we've only gotten 3 movies out of him. And frankly, both Oz and Doctor Strange, I think they're so beholden to other franchises and other things that it's not really Raimi reaching out and doing his thing. I'm glad he's back to it a little bit with Send Help, although Send Help is a much smaller kind of film.
There's moments of it in the Doctor Strange movie, but it's like
sure
the highs and lows of like when that movie's having to do like Marvel stuff. It is like a real like, wow, the rails are coming off on the MCU. And like when they kind of hand the parts of that movie where it feels like they're kind of handing it more over to him and are like, bring that Evil Dead energy into here. Then you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Like, why didn't you just like let him do this the whole movie? And then, I mean, the less said about Oz the Great and Powerful, the better. I bet if you if you stop someone on the street and were like, did you know that Sam Raimi made a Wizard of Oz prequel for Disney with James Franco as the wizard and Mila Kunis and Rachel Weisz as the Wicked Witches, and then Michelle Williams as Glinda? They'd be like, wait, that movie exists? And you're like, yes. And it's hot diarrhea. It is just like the hottest of hot diarrhea.
So in that respect, the Doctor Strange was a little bit of a comeback, but I'll give you that. I feel like he agreed to make the first 2/3 so that they could let him do the last third. Because I was going to say,
I love the ending.
Yes,
that final third is great. And
you're
yeah,
just sort of like, where was this for like the first hour or so of this movie?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit, guys. I am not as up on Sam Raimi as you guys are, because I've admitted before I'm not a big horror person. I haven't seen any of the Evil Dead films.
What?
And that's such, yeah. Hey,
you would like
just
them? They're funny.
Yeah.
I know. I've just
Likable.
never gotten around to it. I've never gotten. By the way, Bruce, did you guys know Bruce Campbell is in the in Send Help?
Yes. I thought that was a very funny, like, sly. He always. I just love how Raimi always like finds some little
Some
like
way to put Bruce Campbell in
some
his
way
film.
to
Yeah.
put like even
Where
when he comes in as like the ticket guy in Spider-Man 2 is
where
just
was he in
like
this
chef's
one?
kiss.
Where was he in Sin's
He's
Help?
he's I believe Dylan O'Brien's father. You see him in
Yes.
like a
Oh, like
portrait
a
in the
picture.
background. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right. He's
Okay.
not actually acting. He's not Hugh, but they took a photo of him with Dylan O'Brien, and he's the father, the I guess the good corporate owner who was going to give Rachel McAdams the promotion, and
Mhm.
then dies.
Well, yeah, so with Evil Dead, like it's, the first one, pure horror movie. The second one, he essentially gets to remake his own first movie again, and it's the same movie as the first one with a lot more humor. And then Army of Darkness is just straight up Looney Tunes. Like
Yeah, I
that's
think
the
Army
first
of
one I saw.
Darkness would probably be your favorite, Jason, because it's like a. Actually, I think the good comparison to the Evil Dead movies is kind of the first three Mad Max movies, in that the first
Yeah.
one is this like really cool low budget movie where you're sort of like
Right.
impressed by like what they're able to do at such a small budget, and then two is the one that is really like that's the one that sort of defines what the franchise is, and is really feels like the filmmaker, okay, I'm gonna redo the first one but with like a little bit more experience, a bigger budget, and I'm gonna more like fine tune this idea of mine. And then the third one is more of like a swashbuckling adventure movie that has more of a cult following. But yeah, they're all like, even the first one I think is like pretty funny for as like gross as it is. Like it really it does feel like a movie that is like a group of friends in like their 20s went up to a cabin and were like, what is like the nastiest, meanest horror movie we can make? And you're sort of like, bravo for like just going for it. I mean, it's sickening in some places, but then yeah, by two it just becomes like it's Looney Tune. It's a comedy, but instead of cream pies in people's faces, it's blood being like sprayed everywhere. You
So
would like them. You would like them. If
yeah,
you
they're
like Drag Me
like-
to Hell, you would like them.
I'll check him out at some point. I think. Yeah.
So I haven't seen Crime Wave, which is the movie he did in '85 that he co-wrote with the Coen brothers.
It's not great. I would
Yeah,
say
I
if
had
you
a
want to
feeling.
be a completist, check it out. It's an interesting sort of like, it's got you like, you can see seeds of ideas that like the Coens would later do better in their movies, and you can see like visual ideas that Raimi has that he will do better in other movies. It's sort of an interesting kind of test movie, but it's a bit of a mess.
So the first, looking back through memories, I think the first Raimi movie I saw was Dark Man in 1990, when I was way too young to see that.
Jason,
Um,
have you seen Darkman?
I have, and to me, it doesn't really work.
yeah,
Oh.
it's
I like it. It's
It's-
it's fun.
yeah, it's his first.
It's just a
stab
little
at
too.
career.
It's a little too weird. I
It
just
is
thought it was
weird.
yeah.
It's very Looney Tunes. It made me terrified of Larry Drake.
It kind of feels like a bit of like a practice run for him doing some of the bigger comic book movies that he did later in his career, if that makes sense.
He got all that Spider-Man money. He got all that Spider-Man
Yes.
money, and he stopped making movies.
And then this next phase of his career is what I call like genre Sam Raimi, which is movies that I think a lot of people don't even know he did, which is, Quick and the Dead with Sharon
Good movie.
Stone, Gene Hackman.
By the way, I love Quick and the Dead, and the visual style in that movie is really on point.
Yes.
And then you've got Simple Plan, which is just a gnarly noir movie with Bill Paxton, Billy Bob Thornton.
Super underrated.
So dark. And it's
Really dark. Yes.
it's Sam
Oh my God.
Raimi basically doing No Country for Old Men before the Coen brothers did.
I
Yeah.
watched that in school, in high
Oh my
school.
God.
I couldn't tell you what the
Really?
reason was we watched it, but we watched it for a class in high school, and
Wow.
the whole class was like in like raptured. Like we were just like glued to the screen. And then years later was like, wait, Sam Raimi? made that weird movie about like Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton finding a bag of money out in the woods. We watched
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's one of those movies where I watched it and I was like, man, that was great. I never want to see that movie again.
It's a real, like, it'll make you ask yourself like, what would I do in this situation, and cause anxiety for the rest of your day.
So, and then the next year, 1999, he makes a movie that is not good, but I love it anyway, and that's For Love of the Game. The
Yeah.
Kevin
So
Costner.
it's such a
baseball.
dad. It is such a dad movie.
It
I
is.
remember
that
walking
movie
out of that.
sucks.
It's not
so
Yes.
bad.
I can't
Yes.
defend it. It should, but if it's one of those that when it came on TV, I was in. Like I'm gonna watch it the rest of the time. And
I was gonna say, I
John C.
remember
Reilly as Hindcatcher, man. That's all you need is John C. Reilly plays the Hindcatcher.
I just remember walking out of that and being like, I think that didn't work at all, but I think I really liked it.
That was me too. And then you have The Gift, which is like a weird.
I never saw this one.
It's okay. It's like
Also
when you
doesn't
hear about
quite
it
work.
on paper, it sounds really cool. Like it's a Southern Gothic like murder mystery with Kate Blanchett as a psychic trying to solve a murder, and Billy Bob Thornton wrote the screenplay, and it has this like incredible cast. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, this is kind of just okay. Like
It's in the middle.
You
in
sort
the
of
middle of
want it to
Keanu-
be crazier than it actually turns out being.
It's in the middle of Keanu Reeves's unfortunate Southern accent phase between
Oh,
this and The
yeah.
Devil's Advocate.
Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on the Spider-Man movies?
I was gonna say, and then we get his Spider-Man movies, which change the trajectory of his career for the rest of his life. 1 and 2, good. 3, not great, but not as bad as everybody says it is.
I don't know.
But
well, wait. It's not just that they changed his career. I feel even though we had the X-Men movies at that point, the Spider-Man movies are the thing that was like, okay, superheroes can print money for Hollywood. These were unqualified, unbelievably huge successes.
yeah,
And
monsters.
yes, and in terms of artistic ability, in terms of the art on them, the first 2 are great, and the third one is like, let's forget about it. It's just really
the third one is really like it begins to have the sort of standard comic book movie problem where like it's got like 3 or 4 ideas for a
Many
Spider-Man
villains.
movie that are just sort of jumbled together, and it's a lot of like CGI goop. The first 2, I mean, I think Spider-Man 2 is in conversation with like The Dark Knight as like the greatest comic book movie ever made. And like the thing that is almost underrated about those movies, they're very melodramatic. Like they are very soapy, they're very earnest. It like so much of them are just about like Peter Parker just like wants to kiss Mary Jane so bad, and like that it is amazing to me. Like they have none of the like the wink and the sort of cynicism of like the Marvel movies, in that like they're not kind of winking at the audience and being like, isn't this kind of silly? But they're also not like the grim griminess of like the DCEU or something like that. They're very colorful, and they are like it again, they're romantic. Like the through line of it is really like Peter wanting to be with Mary Jane, but being like, I'm Spider-Man, I
100%.
can't do that. And they're just I cannot imagine a comic book movie coming out and being as openly earnest and kind of, you know, what some people would call like cheesy and sappy in places, but I think really, really works for those movies, and they really hold up.
And
At
on
least
the
the
flip
first
side
two.
of that, the other side of that coin, bringing us back to what I said about Send Help earlier, I did a rewatch with my daughter a few years back, and what struck me on the rewatch is underneath the surface, again with the Raimi through line, they're also really mean.
The
Like,
Dr. Octopus stuff in 2 is genuinely kind of scary and like pretty violent in places.
you know, the uncle stuff in the first movie. And then just the fact that they really get the nature of the character of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, which is dude just cannot catch a break his entire life.
Yeah.
That is sort of my defense of I think too many people think the issue with 3 is the like bully Parker meme thing. That's actually the one
Peter
good.
Parker.
That is actually the one good part of that movie, because like Peter Parker's a nerd. Of course, he would think that is like what being cool is like,
Yeah.
and that is like the energy that movie is
Goes
missing for most of its runtime.
You could totally see on the wrong day Peter Parker going like full incel, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Dancing Tobey Maguire is just not a thing. It's just,
No, it's great. It's funny. It's hilarious.
But then we get into the era that we talked about at the beginning of the pod, which is Drag Me to Hell, Oz the Great and Powerful, Doctor Strange, and Send Help. So I think that I'm not sure what the future looks like for Sam Raimi. I know he's got a couple of projects in contention, but based on the past, I don't know when we'll see those. But if you want to put the quote modern era of Raimi, bookend it between Drag Me to Hell and Send Help, those are some pretty good bookends.
yeah, there's no question about it. He's a guy, by the way, he's a guy who is always got sort of a couple interesting irons in the fire, so you never know what's next for him. I mean, there is a whole wiki page of nothing but unrealized, undeveloped projects by Sam Raimi.
So much gold.
Yeah, I was looking through it. I was like, oh, make this next. Oh, wait, do this one. You know, it's some really interesting stuff that he's been involved with over the years that they never could quite, get out of development and into production. So I think he has got such a great visual sense of where the camera is and where to put you as an audience and how to shock you and how to move you. I just wish the guy was making more stuff. It's not like he's in, even though he's been around since the early 2000s. I'm sorry, since the 80s.
Yeah.
It's not like he's in his 80s now or something like that. The guy, he's still at an age. He's 66.
Yeah,
he's still at an age. Yeah, where he could really be making a movie every few years at least. And I hope he does, because like I said, everything he does is interesting. Even if it's bad, it's still kind of interesting.
I don't know. I'm not defending Oz the Great and the Powerful. That's on you.
All right, with that, we're going to wrap it up here on the latest edition of the Movie Joust podcast. More stuff coming at you in future weeks. I forget even what we've got. We've got Wuthering Heights coming up in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Until then, that's Jesse. That's Josh. I'm Jason. We'll see you at the movies.